Hi everybody and welcome back to the Going For It Sim Studio. My name is Jeremy Tufts and I set out to change the way golf is traditionally learned and played by simply learning the game of golf here on my About Golf simulator and then attempting to break 80 for my very first ever round of golf outside. And now that that challenge has been completed, I've played my first round, and in fact I've actually played two. Second video is coming out. Most of you know the outcome of that channel, and it did come out as most expected. However, I got to learn the game of golf like nobody else has learned ever before, which brings a whole new perspective on what I think is going to be an absolute change of direction for how the game of golf is learned, just like I set out to do. So today, what we're going to talk about are my initial thoughts. I've had some time to take a break from filming, take a break from content, play a little bit of golf outside, and just let things kind of settle in. And now I want to come to you with just the initial thoughts. There's a lot of content going to come out over every single aspect of the differences, what I learned, how I want to move forward, and what I could have done different in the past. But today, let's just do initial. So it's going to be a little bit all over the place, but just take a seat back and just listen. Just kind of take in my thoughts and what I've learned. And I think you might be surprised by a lot of it, and a lot of it you'll be like, yeah, I told you so. So let's just get into it. All right, so this is the conversation that I've been waiting to have for well over a year, through some injuries, through so many different directions this channel has gone, while simply just trying to document my journey and everything that I've learned and share it with you so that more folks can get into the game of golf via simulators. Because look, I truly believe that golf technology is so good now that we can open up a whole new avenue in which you can learn the game of golf before taking a step outside and have even more fun while you're playing that first of many rounds of golf outside. So how did the challenge go? We'll start there. If you didn't see the video on my first one, I believe it was a 108 was the first round I shot. Now, there's no excuses. I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, I could have done so much better. Here's the thing. Golf is very tricky, right? And now a lot of you watch these YouTube golf videos and you have heard that playing golf on camera is a lot more difficult than playing off, and that even some of the best in the world take a few holes to kind of get into rhythm. Now, this is a learning curve for all of us. So not only me learning the game of golf inside and then taking it outside, but we also have to learn as a crew. So my cameraman, my producer, we all have to figure the flow and the cadence out. The filming cadence and the unexpected variable of people behind us really got to me straight away. If you watch the very first hole, it was one of my calmest and it was actually one of my best. My first drive made it just into the first cut of rough. I got it close to the green on a really wonky lie, and I actually had about a 6 to 7 foot putt for par on my very first ever round outside. Now, I didn't have anybody behind me, and we were told we had 10 minutes of gap behind us. Great, we figured just me playing, we're gonna be able to rally rather quickly. However, stuff happens. Cameras have issues. We have to change lenses when the light changes. We had storms rolling in. So Devin really wanted to make sure he had the perfect light to get the best video quality, and we had to make a few changes. Batteries die, we have to deal with that. Audio issues happen. It's just part of it. Now, when you do it full time and you're able to rally out these videos, you can really make those a lot smaller and fewer. However, this is the way things go. Now, by the time we got to the second hole, we had a group behind us who were playing the wildest round of quick golf. They were driving their carts to the side. They would run to their ball, hit their ball, run back to their carts, back up to it, and they caught us incredibly quickly. And then you really fast, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm this brand new golfer. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a camera on me. These guys must think I'm an idiot. I don't know what to do. My mind starts going crazy. And next thing you know, I'm walking up to the ball and I'm just whack, 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 go, 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 go. Hitting balls into the water, picking them up, trying to go here, go there, quick putts. Score just skyrockets, right? And until we were able to make the turn, work through some of that stress, the group behind us, after we let that quick group through and another single and a few other folks, they took a break at the turn. And all of a sudden, I didn't have any pressure on me and the back nine came out much better. And then I was actually able to, I didn't even really do it, but I could focus on my swing a little bit And that was my whole goal is, look, what I wanted to do was make a few really good golf shots. Honestly, I was struggling a bit with my game. I'd lost my irons. My driver came back a little bit better, maybe not through the round, but it was getting there. But something happened. In the last coming months, coming out of this injury, everything was working really well. And then kind of as my body started to heal, I started moving different and the club started striking the ball a little bit different. And so I had that concern kind of in the back of my mind and it just kind of all steamrolled, right? I started hitting some really good shots on the back nine and it worked. And I started feeling it. And I was like, okay, I can play this game, right? So you take these two variables that played a huge role on my game. And then I was able to utilize that for my second round and say, okay, I can manage these now. I understand what I need to do with people behind me, how to get around the camera, and what I could do to move forward. So I overcame that obstacle. And in round two, the score, as a spoiler, was better. I broke 100. Phenomenal day for me. The front nine started out kind of high, back to the second nine, and I just started really finding my game. I believe I shot a 43 or a 45, which for a back nine, pretty dang good for me. I was very pleased, and I really started hitting the ball well with my irons and my driver because I started to play my swing. So what was another very large aspect that I didn't think about? Well, when I first started playing golf, I would do what I call swinging blindly. I knew kind of what the idea was to do, but I would take a back swing and then I would just swing and just hoped it worked. There was no drive for the ball. There wasn't like a swing with purpose or make the club head through the ball. The ball's just in the way of the swing with some purpose, rotate through the ball, make a good golf shot. When I learned that in the sim is when I started scoring in the 60s, right? So I was doing that again. And I didn't realize that until I got through quite a few holes because of all the other variables that I'm focused on. Voices in my head, the stress of people around, all of that, right? The stress of wanting to do well in the challenge, wanting to prove all the haters wrong, but also wanting to take all of the supporters and prove them right. You know what I mean? Because that's just the competitiveness in me. And so I just was blindly swinging again. And sometimes I'd make contact and it would work because I am actually okay mechanically, far better than I should be, right? At this point in my golf game, playing just a couple rounds outside. Which kind of leads to just some of my findings that I thought was really interesting. So I say that I got to learn the game in a way that nobody has done before, right? I walked onto that golf course knowing how to play golf. I was confident in my ability to shoot well. I was confident in my ability to score well. And I knew how to manage a golf course. And a lot of the folks that I have spoken with for the entire challenge is, it's gonna be the lies. It's gonna be the lies in your short game, the lies in the short game. That's what's gonna be your trouble. You know what? It wasn't. And that was wild. Like I understood the lies enough. Yes, above my feet, below my feet, some of them were trickier and they weren't as good of shots, but I did okay. Out of the bunkers, I only bladed 2 shots out of both rounds where the bunkers were rock hard. And that was a bit tricky. Now I know how to do that. But these lies, it was a little bit different, but it wasn't anything that blew my mind. I didn't get over a lie and get scared. I was surprised by that. And then it was opposite. For some reason, you'd think my tee shots and then my iron shots would be phenomenal coming out of here. I just couldn't do it. I don't know if that's because I lost my game a little bit and I just was guessing again, playing just swing blindly. But my short game was really good. It was way better than it should have been. I should have struggled with my short game and my putting flat out, right? That's not the way it was. One thing that I made a mistake of, and here's one. See, I told you it'd be random. This stuff's just gonna pop into my head. I don't wanna script this conversation. The balls. So I had some Vice Pro Pluses made with my logo on it for fun. There was a sale one day. I've heard good things about the Vices. I knew I would want a lower cost ball to play because I'm spoiled because in here I use Pro V1s because I get to utilize the life of the ball. So it makes an expensive ball worth it. I love the way it feels. I really didn't like the way the pinnacles felt in here all the time. They just hurt my hands. They made my hands buzz, right? So when I first got to the first round, I go onto the putting green and I tossed down some of those Vices thinking like, I'm gonna play my first round with the ball, my logo on it, it's gonna be super cool. And I hit a putt, the same putts that I've been making for however long, 6, 7 foot putt. and it goes 8 feet past. And I was like, what? Am I just adrenaline? What's going on? So I toss another one down, boom, same thing. What? And so I come back, overdo those, grab my Pro Vs, and I toss them on the ground, sink, 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 sink. 3 or 4 in a row. No big deal. Same exact power. Those Pro V1 Pluses, not Pro V1 Pluses, the Vice Pro Plus, whatever the heck it is, came off my putter like a rocket. And those were the balls that I brought to play with. And so I got onto the putting green. I did okay, but I couldn't wait for those balls to go in the water because I could not stand those things. Nothing about them helped me. And then I was able to kind of pick up a few of the Pro Vs I had in my bag, and then one of the guys that was with us had a few, and I was able to kind of get through the round with enough of those to make some of my long putts, right? I mean, so I just didn't know that was a difference. So immediately after that, I went into straight ball testing. I took a bunch of different balls from buddies, and I went straight to the putting green. And on, chipping, I could feel a difference. Off the driver, off the irons, not so much, but huge deal when putting. It completely blew me away. Instead of reading the putt and always practicing with Pro Vs when I go outside to practice my putts, man, that was different. So I figured that out, and that obviously helped round 2, and it helped me score much, much better. I had more confidence in my putts. So doing that at the beginning of a round, man, I've learned as an elite bike racer, you never change things on race day. Man, yeah, it's the same in golf. Bad idea. What were some of my accomplishments? Let's talk about some of my accomplishments, things that were pretty cool. I got a birdie before I got a par. That was pretty wild. The first par I got was a 40, was it 40 feet? Man, it was 30 or 40. Maybe it was 30. I think it was 10 paces, right? Putt, wild. That was pretty nuts. Got a few greens in regulation. I thought that was really cool. In another one of my rounds, I think I drove a par 4. It was 286, and I stuck it on the green. That was kind of cool. I ended up making par because they were incredibly fast, difficult greens, but I'm okay with that. And now I've been through things. I've made some more pars. I've started to score a little bit better. So I definitely expect a lot of improvement really, really quickly as I get a little bit more comfortable. Funny thing is I'm afraid to take a divot. Like my mind doesn't want to take a divot. So I've been picking balls a lot. And so as I learn that hitting the ground is okay, I think my game's going to get a lot better also. And what about how cool it was to get outside? What were my thoughts on playing outside versus playing inside? I think that's a really cool one too. This is a whole video in itself. It was cool. Golf courses are beautiful. I've always thought that. It was really nice to be out there. One massive difference between the two, one that nobody has talked about, that I never heard from anybody, alignment. Alignment was massive. When I'm playing on this mat, I don't have a mat that has alignment lines. I don't play with alignment sticks all the time unless I'm doing something specific. However, my hitting strip has straight lines. And no matter what I do, I can aim on about golf, no problem, but you're always aimed at the flag stick. So you could just line up straight, boom, hit the ball, right? Holy cow. I thought I was lined up at times, and a guy we were playing with that first round with, he's like, Jeremy, you hit that ball straight, even though I thought I didn't. He's like, you're lined up that way. And that has taken me a really long time just to kind of understand, how do I set up for my draw without aiming right? And just the alignment in general, totally different when you don't have lines down there. Even though I'm not purposefully looking at the lines in the hitting strips right here, mentally it's there. And so I think that played a little bit bigger of a role in the whole thing. But it was cool, the wind in your hair, all that, just that stereotypical stuff. It was really, really weird hearing birds chirping and hearing other people kind of out and about, and some of the distractions, the clouds changing the light, the wind coming in. Having my first round, a thunderstorm roll through right next to town. We just got the edge of it. I mean, the winds picked up to crazy 30, 40 miles an hour at times. The light went away. It went from 85 to 65. It got chilly outside. I had the tailwinds that I didn't even think about, or the tailwinds, side winds, headwinds, all that stuff. Stuff as a cyclist that I think about a lot. So I think just subconsciously I'm so hammered into my head to be like, hey, here's the wind. Here's how you deal with the wind. I did adjust for the wind. I just wasn't thinking about it, which I thought was pretty cool. over obstacles and over, I guess they're not obstacles, right? It would be over trouble, whether it was water or whether it was just substantial rough when you know, over the tee shot to the fairway, whatever it was, hitting over bunkers. None of that intimidated me. And that was something that I expected. I am so used to just hitting the ball in the sim. It doesn't matter what it looks like, right? If you hit a ball short in the water, your ball's still there. And so when I would go over any sort of danger, it just didn't bother me. I didn't think about like, oh my gosh, I gotta go over the water. It wasn't different. You know, like when I'm riding bikes, and if anybody has been out on trails or, you know, motorcycles, that kind of stuff, a double is a lot different than a tabletop. And if you don't know what that means, a double jump is your typical 2 mounds of dirt with a gap in the middle where you could case it and you have danger, right? It hurts a lot. Tabletop is the kind where you have your takeoff and your landing and there's a flat. So if you come up short, you kind of just land on a flat deal and kind of go down. When you do either one of those, they can be the exact same distance, the exact same angle of takeoff, and you're gonna freak out over the double a lot more than you will the tabletop. It's natural. And that's kind of what I see folks do outside and when I talk to them about playing around certain golf course features. You know, naturally I was able to look at a hole and I was able to know where I wanted the shot to go. I knew how to read the course. What I wasn't able to do was hit the shot that I wanted. And I think a lot of that, again, came down to me not having purposeful shots. Just lining up, totally blanking on everything and just swinging the club, which I don't think was quite the way to do it. And that's all part of the experience. It's all part of the learning curve. You know, I thought it was great. Slow play is tough. On round 2, we caught a group on the back 9, a little bit on the front 9, and sitting there and waiting is really hard for me. Doing anything in life slower than it should be is one of my biggest hurdles that I have to personally face. Anything. And golf especially. Like there was a time, and you'll see it on camera, I was sitting there because we actually played a course that was right next to one of our winter riding spots that I know so well. I have spent the amount of hours I have out there, you don't even want to know. And I was sitting there looking at this hill in the golf cart, watching this guy line up a 3-foot putt for 3 minutes and miss it, and then line up the 6-inch putt. I was just like, gosh, this was like a hole 12 or something, right? I'm just like, man, it's got a lot more holes to play. Ready to go home. Like this is slow. Like I'm not even excited anymore. I want to go ride bikes. I want something that moves and that I have more control over. So I thought that was interesting. That was something that's gone through my head where, you know, I get home and I'm like, man, that took 4.5 to 5 hours, plus getting there early for warm up and the drive to the course and the drive back. And it, you know, I'm like, I just don't know how much I could do that to my family and how much I can take that time away. You know, I've got a full-time job. I have my bike riding that I do. That takes enough time. But when am I going to be able to fit a 6-hour round of golf in? You know, I mean, yeah, that's tough. Especially when I could come out here and I play a round of 18 in 45 to an hour. Now, do I think that is the way you should play golf? I don't, because if you've gone to a range outside and just peppered balls nonstop, just take a whole bucket, boom, 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 100 balls done. Your game goes downhill so fast. You know, the pros take their time. If you watch them at a range, they take their time. They hit a ball, check a few things. You know, my coach, Jeff Ritter, has told me once before, he's like, you should not be hitting 10 balls in a minute. You should be hitting 1 ball every minute or 2. And just be calculated at what you do. And that's hard for me to do in the sim. It really is. And I'm 100% honest about that. You know, and I was worried about that a little bit. I talked about it, I think, in a few videos of like, it's the pace. Like, what's it gonna be like taking that long to play golf? What am I gonna do? How's my body gonna react to having to hit a shot, wait, hit a shot, wait? What my mind is gonna do when I hit a bad shot, am I gonna overcome that? Now, I'll tell you, as we kind of dive around topics, I didn't have that. It was what I thought I did. So if I hit a bad shot, I was frustrated as a competitor, but I didn't care. Like, I didn't sit there and like sulk over it until I walked up to it. I saw that it was bad off wherever I hit it from. We walked up and we hit another shot. So I think that taught me on the sim. The sim taught me that outside you can overcome a bad shot and still score well. So I just didn't even have that demon in my head. And that was pretty cool, right? And then, gosh, it's more about how fast can I improve? I know the game. As a true student, mechanically I could do it. I could come in the sim, I can still score really well. I know I'm capable. I watch good golfers outside. I've made some phenomenal shots. I just got to piece it together. And I'm not talking about one. I'm talking like I have made some great shots, a lot of them. And as I start to understand myself, like, hey, here's the purpose you need to make with this shot. Get it where it needs to go. Have some confidence in yourself. Have confidence in the game that you've learned. Confidence in the game that you've learned that nobody else had the ability to do. Nobody has ever known the game that I know of, has known the game from a mechanical, course management, and just an experience level of a year and a half of constant sim play. Working with some of the best coaches in the world, documenting everything. Like my knowledge of the game, I can sit down and talk to somebody and they would never guess. They would never guess that I have been playing so little and I'm so new to the game. When I swing my swing, not the one that I played throughout that first round, I feel like I reverted my swing back to like month 4. I have a swing that people ask me for help all the time. I get that at the range. I'll be out there hitting balls and somebody will come up to me, hey, can you help me for a second? And I just chuckle and I laugh and I'm like, you don't want help from me, man. And I kind of explain things and they laugh and I help them and they love it and it's cool. I've chipped before. Sit at the chipping range, I'm knocking them in and I get the, hey, Jeremy, you take that out on the course today, you're gonna do so well. Sorry, buddy, I've never played around outside. It's fun. I really enjoy it. I got a kick out of one of my kids' golf coaches. I was putting the day before I was gonna go play and he couldn't believe it. He was talking to me and he was laughing at me because I just kept putting these putts in with a nice smooth stroke, And then I get out in front of the camera and I just completely lose that. That's what I have to figure out. How can I take my off-camera game onto the course and start playing golf and not just playing golf swing, right? That's what's in my head right now. That's what I'm grinding for. After that round outside, my first one, I played golf every single day until I played my second round to get my short game back, to try to find my swing. Man, I just kept going and going and going. Probably overdid it, started wearing out my muscles again a little bit, but the drive is wild. The love for the game is insane. Like I want to succeed so bad. I cannot wait to break that 80 number and then start chasing lower 70s. I know I'm capable. I know I've got the mindset for it. I know I have the skill base to be there. I truly, truly believe it. I just have to put a few things together. So look, I know this video is really long. Hopefully you enjoyed just hearing me kind of rattle off thoughts that were in my head. Golf is interesting. I love my sim. I don't think I'll ever not be a sim golfer. I think this is where I learned. This is where I enjoy playing. There are aspects about sim golf that I truly and absolutely love to play. There are going to be some more videos coming out where I'm going to just do a flat out comparison of indoor versus outdoor. And we're going to go line by line and talk about these. That one I'll set up a little bit more for, have a little bit of script so I know and have direction to follow. And then you guys can see some chapters on YouTube where we're able to kind of bounce around to things that you really want to talk about. But it's a heck of a journey. I can't thank my sponsors enough, About Golf, Sticks, True Linkswear, and Carl's Place. I couldn't have done it without them. It was really, really cool in a unique way. I think there's a lot more to come out of this challenge, out of the educational approach to golf that I was able to basically create, that I want to make something bigger out of. I want to utilize this platform and simulators to get more people into the game of golf, and heck, to really raise awareness around playing the game and not having to go outside in a busy course. Maybe every once in a while it's good for you, even during peak season, to go play around a sim golf. Just bust through 18, have a good time, and not have to worry about anybody in front of you. There's so much to talk about. And the world of simulators, I think, we're at the beginning of a big, big, big wave. So please like, follow, and subscribe. I've got a lot of stuff coming out. We're gonna bounce back into the sim. I'm gonna show you the work that I'm doing to improve my game outside now that I have a good comparison and I know what I need to work on. We're also gonna talk a lot about my experience, what I've learned, the direction of things, and we're starting chapter 2 of Going For It, and that is how quickly is it gonna take for me to break 80. Until then, go play golf, whether it's outside or inside, whatever gives you the biggest smile. And just remember, if you're waiting on people, take a deep breath, give your buddy a high five. The round will be over as soon as you know it, and you're still gonna score just as well as you would have. We'll see you next time.